Hi, we're here again with another Up Close. We're with John from Brook, and we're going to do a few questions on the upcoming Food and Drink Fest. First question is, how did you get into making craft beer?
Well, long story short, I was a home brewer for many, many years, and back in 1991 I quit my engineering job and started a home brewing store. And 5 years ago we decided we wanted to make better home brew, so we decided to become a brewery, not really wanting to get into Nickelbrook. The idea was to make better beer juice for the home brewing industry. And in the midst of building the brewery, which started about 7-8 years ago, 24 for 24 took off, home brewing of beer kind of died, and we were left with a little brewery sitting not doing much. So we decided to come up with a brand of beer, and the beer is named after my kids, Nick and Brook, and the beer is called Nickelbrook.
What's the primary difference between an ale and a lager?
Ales generally are warm fermented, very fast and warmer, tend to be darker, heavier, more flavorful. Lagers are fermented colder and slower, and by doing this they generally become crisper and cleaner. So lagers tend to be more of a summer beer, and ales tend to be more of a winter beer.
What's the major difference in the manufacturing of a craft beer versus a mass-produced national brand?
Well, I have a lot to say about that, but I will keep it very, very short. Okay, a craft beer, most craft breweries follow a very Impurity Act. We use 4 major ingredients, which is barley, water, hops, and yeast. A commercially brewed beer now, they start to introduce corn, invert glucose, which is corn sugar, and rice and other fillers. They're substituting the sugar with not the sugar from barley. They're getting artificial sugars. When I say the word artificial to beer making. There's nothing unnatural of corn sugar, but it's not what's meant to be in beer. So a craft beer, it'd be like having a whole wheat bread sandwich, and a production, commercially brewed beer is like having bad whole white bread. So craft breweries do in small batches, very high-end ingredients, no artificial filler. Even our carbonation in our beer is natural, which is unheard of. Most breweries just ferment their carbonation into the air, because when beer ferments, carbonations form. We have closed vessels, and we shut our vessels off during the fermentation process to allow the carbonation to absorb back in the beer. So we tell our customers we have natural gas.
Does craft beer have an expiry date?
Yes, most craft beer shelf life is far less than commercially brewed beer. I'm doing a test right now. I've got a case of commercially brewed beer in my basement that's about 5 years old and still tastes pretty good. You wouldn't want to know what my beer tastes like in 5 years. Everything's hand done. So of course, there's no preservatives in the beer. It's very natural. So most craft beer shelf life's about 4 to 6 months.
So for everybody that loves food, what would you say is the best pairing for food and beer?
Well, it depends. Generally lagers are better with food. Ales tend to be harder and tend to be a meal on their own. A lot of people have this thing with wine and cheese and chocolate with different stuff, but cheese is a great pairing for heavier beers, and so is chocolate. So for general foods, I'm going to say more, lighter lagers. Because you're getting 24, you can mix it, because everything comes in 6. We charge you for 24 price, it's cheaper, but we have a great lager, we have a Pilsner and apple beer, so I give you mainly ale.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, you're here.
Let's try some. I'll go with your recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you prefer lighter, darker?
Perhaps my favorite question, if you didn't do this, what do you think you would do?
Oh my God, that is a very good question. I asked myself why I'm doing this many days, actually, because it's a pretty crazy business. But I'd probably go back to my past. My background was engineering. I was in the aerospace industry, and I did have a passion for it too, but home brewing was a bigger passion. So hard to say, but I would probably go back to the aerospace industry. But this is the brewing industry is a great industry. The people in it are fun, except for the big guys. All the little guys are pretty neat, cool people, and it's a fun industry to be in. And it's funny you said that, because I had an employee leave me a year ago, and he called me today. He wanted to become a pilot. He decided that he doesn't like the industry, and he wants to talk to me about becoming a brewer. So he wants to come back because he says he misses the industry. Sometimes it's not all about the money. It's what you love doing.
Hear, hear.
Excellent. Well, thanks for taking some time and chatting with us here at Up Close. And we look forward to seeing what you guys do at Food and Drink Fest this year.
Great show. Fun. Can't wait.
Sounds great. And you know what? Keep on fighting the good battle.